Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing this look for you. It is kind of intense-ish. It ended up being way more intense than I initially intended it to be, but I still like how it turned out. I went a little crazy with the liner. I was like trying this new thing, and it didn't work out, so I feel like my eyeliner just looks really insanely big for no reason, but I kind of had to go with it because it already happened. So yeah, this is the look I came up with. Very warm, kind of like greenish tint, smoky, kind of very hazel. I was thinking of like fall colors. I'm very excited for fall, this fall season, and like everything that comes with fall, the decorations, like everything. And so that's what I was kind of going for. I want to do something very fall with this eye look. I also was really inspired by my own eye color. Like when I see this palette I use, which is the Jaclyn Hill Armed and Gorgeous, like these colors I'm obsessed with, very fall, and it's also very similar to my own natural eye color, which has like browns and kind of yellowish and kind of some green in there mixed in. So I was also inspired by my own eye color to kind of create something like this. So yeah, this is the look I came up with. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, if you want to see how I got the look, then please keep on watching. All right, y'all, so we have our one eye done, and then we're gonna get started with this eye. So I already did my brows, and they came out a little wonky today. They're definitely a lot darker and thicker than I would prefer them to be, but it'll work in the end. It'll be fine. So I already did my eyebrow. I kind of went around my eyebrow area with some concealer just to clean it up. And now we're gonna go in with eyeshadow. First, I'm gonna apply just a little bit more of my eye base. Today I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and just using a little tiny bit of that as an eyeshadow primer. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Jaclyn Hill and Morphe Armed and Gorgeous palette, and I'm going to go in with the shade Access right here. And taking this just a little bit at a time, I want to start building up our base crease color. And for this, I am using this Lancome blending brush. It is the blending number 17. After that, I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Smooth Criminal. And I'm using this on a MAC 224, but this is the new MAC 224. That's the synthetic version, which I actually prefer to the older version myself because I feel like it's way more soft and it's a little more precise, so I can feel like I can get the color a little bit better, like right where I want it. And I'm taking this Smooth Criminal shade just a little deeper in the crease, and I'm going to start blending that in and kind of to the outer corner, but also into the inner corner as well, and buffing it into the Access shade we had down. And then to make that transition smoother from the brown to the yellow, I'm going to go in with this shade here, which is called Agent, at the end of the palette. And out of the two oranges in this palette, I find this one is a little bit more like pumpkin-y, if that makes sense. Like it's still bright, but it's a little less bright than the other one, and a little bit more rich, if that makes sense. So I'm going to put this basically right in between the Smooth Criminal color and the Access color, and that's just going to help them fade a little better into one another. And as with everything, when I'm doing my eyeshadow, I do slightly pull it out a little bit at the end. So now I want to bring a little bit of green into this. So I'm going to take this shade here at the end, which is called Top Secret. And I'm using the same brush again. And for this color, I'm going to start by like stamping it. I really want to get it like stamped where I want it. So I'm stamping it in the outer corner and the outer part of the crease. I'm lifting my eyebrows so I could get a little deeper in the crease area, and just stamping that in there. And then once I feel like I have enough color, I'm going to start blending it very lightly. I'm going around the edges super soft, and that just gives it this like kind of grungy greenish vibe as well. This whole eye look, all I was inspired by was like fall colors, but also my own natural eye color is very like weird. It's got like green around the edges, like a lighter, and then it's got some other greens, and then it's got brown in the middle. This side is actually a little more green than this eye. So as I was doing this, I was also thinking of my own eye color. Like I kind of want to make something that's kind of like my eye color, if that makes sense. Okay, so now that our green is all blended in, we're gonna go in with this guy right here. This is called Douce, I think is how you would pronounce that. It's one of the Stila eyeshadows, but this is the Shimmer and Glow. So this is more of like the liquid eyeshadow as opposed to the liquid glitter eyeshadow. And I'm just going to put this all over my lid. And then once I have a nice layer of that down, I'm just going to take my finger and dab it in. And this is just going to kind of help it blend into the eyeshadow. I'm going to make sure I get right around the edges. And then if you feel like you need to reapply because you blended away too much, you can just add a little more and dab a little more. This one is like one of the ones where I love the color, but I don't feel like it performs as well as the other ones. So because of that, I did go in with eyeshadow. Now hindsight is 2020. I wish now after like doing it, I would have just gone in with the one color, but I went in with two colors and the first color was just like too much. Then I had to layer it. It was a mess. So I would have preferred if I just went in with this one, which is classified, but I didn't. I first went in with Coin and it ended up being like so holy like crap, like intense yellow. Like this is very, very pigmented. So I went in with that and it was too yellow, but then I was already committed. So then I just basically layered this on top. So that's what I'm going to do again. So I'm going to take Coin with my finger and I'm using both of these shades with my finger because I feel like they work better that way. And as you can see, I barely touched that one, but it's like crazy intense yellow and it spreads really far. So I was like, oh crap, this is way too yellow for what I wanted. So then after that, I went in with the classified shade, which is more of like the dark, it's like brown, but it's got some other random little kind of flecks of color in it. And I really, really layered that on top in like a couple layers because I didn't want that yellow to be so intense. And I'm not using this wet. This is just kind of over that base of the Stila color. Now once that's on, I'm going to go in with this brush again and sort of blend a little bit because sometimes the little bits get like up into the crease and then it looks a little messy. So I'm kind of blending those away. And then I'm going to go back in with Top Secret, which is the dark green shade. And I'm really going to stamp that in the outer corner of my eye again. And kind of stamp it about, not all the way across, not like halfway across, but almost halfway across. And that's just going to give a little bit of a greenish tint to the eyeshadow on the outer corner. Because I do want to keep that green look to this. And then just make sure that's still blended. And then finally, I'm just going to go in a little bit with this guy here, which is Prowl. And this is the darkest brown in the palette. And I'm literally taking the tiniest little bit on this brush. And I'm just going to stick that right there. And I don't want to cover up the green. So I'm just putting it literally right there in the corner and not going in all the way because I still want to see a little of that green right there in that spot. So the top eyeshadow is done now. I'm going to really quickly do my liner. And for that, I'm using the NYX Matte Liquid Eyeliner. And then I'll be right back and we'll do the bottom of the eye. Okay, so now I have on my liner. And then I also put on my lashes. The lashes I'm using today are the Esqido Lashes in the style BFF. So I have those on. And now we're going to do the lower lash line. So I'm starting out with a black liner. This is the Esqido liner in the black shade. And I'm just going to put this on my waterline. But then I'm also going to smudge it down a little bit. Now when I tested this the other day on Instagram stories, it was super like crazy waterproof and transfer proof, which is very exciting. So I'm really excited to see how this wears all day, but it seems to go on very like nice and easy. So once I have that on, I'm going to blend that in with this little smudgy brush. This is a MAC 228. And because this is waterproof, I'm sure it sets down pretty fast, so I'm working pretty quickly to get this blended out. On top of that, I'm going to take the Top Secret shade, which is our dark green, and I'm going to really pack that all the way across the lower lash line on top of the black. And really packing that on top makes this really nice, like dark kind of hunter army green kind of color. I'm then going to go in with this brush. This is the Morphe M562. And taking the same exact Top Secret color. And this little tiny blending brush is good for kind of smoking out the bottom lash line so it looks very smoky. But it's a little easier to use. Like usually I'd use like a MAC 217 or something like that, which I have no problem with. But if you're newer to makeup or you tend to be a little more messy, this might be a little better for you because it's a little more precise. So you can still get it nice and kind of fade it out, but it'll be just a little more precise for you. I'm then mixing a little bit of Access and Agent, which are the yellow and the orange we used, literally the tiniest bit on this brush, and just very lightly blending that underneath the green. And that's just gonna kind of help it fade a little more. I just like to kind of do that so it's all really tied in with like all the undertones from the top of the eye to the bottom. And for the inner corner of my eye, what I did was I took VIP, which is this white, and I used it on my finger. I'm telling you, I'm literally tapping like one time. So there's barely any on my finger, and then very lightly putting that inner corner. You can see it still shows up. I really don't want this to be really intense because this white is insanely bright. So I didn't want it to be too crazy. So I did that, and then I'm also gonna take the tiniest bit of Guilt Trip, which is that center gold we haven't used yet, and very lightly tap that on top. So I'm getting like a nice bright inner corner, but it's not as like insane as just that white, because that white, it's just like too much for me. I can't make that work. I don't love that. All right, so let's move on to the rest of the face now. The eyes are done. I'm gonna go in with my foundation, and today I'm using the fast-based foundation stick from Makeup Revolution, one of my favorite foundations. I'm using the shade F10. I do have a fake tan on right now, so my face is pretty light compared to the rest of my body, so I'm gonna make this work. So it looks scary right now, but I promise it'll be fine. So I'm just putting that all over, and I want to go pretty full coverage today, so I am putting a lot. You definitely don't need this much. To blend that in, I'm going to use this Bare Minerals Precision Face Brush. It's like the angled kabuki style brush, and I'm just going to start blending this in. For my under eye concealer, I'm going to go in with the same thing I used as my eye base, which is the Too Faced Born This Way, and just put some of that under my eye area. And then I'm also going to highlight my face with this as well. I'm not getting too close to the eyeshadow because I already put a little bit under my eyes before I did my eyeshadow, so that way I wouldn't have to get too close when I was blending this in. All right, now to set my under eye area, I'm going to be going in with the palette I've been using so much lately. I've been using this all the time, like every day. It's the Park Avenue Princess Chisel palette from Tarte. And I'm going to take just the kind of more yellowy highlight shade from here. This is a MAC 116 brush. I'm just going to very lightly set under my eyes as well as everywhere that I used the highlight. With no extra powder, I'm kind of just like buffing the rest of the area of my face, kind of to help this highlighting powder blend in to the rest of the face. I'm then going to take the first 3 shades here and just basically kind of mix them all together. And I'm going to use this to contour and bronze. This is kind of what I've been doing lately. I just mix them all, because I like them all, and I kind of like my thought process is I don't want to use one and then like hit pan on it and whatever. So I kind of just mix them all together because then I'll get a more even use out of them. And I like them all, so this is still like going strong as one of my like favorite palettes ever, favorite purchases ever. And the undertone, like the undertone of those powders is so perfect. It's like not overly orangey or yellowy. It's not overly pinky. It's like, I don't know. I really like it. It's like perfect for me. Now that I have all that down, I'm going to go in with some blush. And today I'm using one that's apparently broken. Oh my goodness. Okay. That was fun. Let me hold this in here. This is the Rose Doro, I think I'm saying that right, from Milani. I'm using the same exact brush I used to set under my eyes. I tend to use like one brush or like 2 brushes for my entire face most of the time. I hate having like one brush for blush, one for highlight, one for, you know, bronzer, one for powder. Like you can really do everything. I feel like you can at least do everything on the face with one brush. And I also feel like everything kind of blends in better because you have a little bit of that excess powder from all the other products you used. So I feel like everything, I don't know, it blends better. So I'm just putting this on. I'm doing a very light amount of this because I just want some color in my face, but I don't want this too crazy. And just kind of blending from the apples of my cheeks and blending it backwards. And then finally, to highlight my face, I'm going to use, you probably already know, my Amrezy highlight from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I just, you know, it's probably annoying the amount of times I use this in my videos, but it's just that good and it kind of just goes with everything. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like I don't really have to think about it. Like, I know this is going to look good. This, and same goes with the MAC Whisper of Guilt. I feel the same way about that. I feel like I don't really need to think about it. I can just grab it and it's going to look good with everything. And I'm just highlighting the places I usually do. Nothing new. For my lip today, I'm going to use something that I think I did, again, actually kind of just use, but I can't help it, like this lip just goes so well with this look, and I want the lip to go really well and be cohesive. I don't want to just use something else just to, you know, say I used something else. So, I mean, this just happens to go with this look. Again, I know I've used it recently, but I mean, it works, so I want to use what works. So I'm using the Oak Lip Pencil from MAC first. And I'm going to try something different. I'm going to really try to overline my lips today. I see so many people doing this. I feel like every time I try to overline my lips, I don't really do it. I feel like I kind of, you know, just a little bit, but I want to like go for it today. So if this looks like shit, then, you know, we'll just like pretend it never happened. I'm literally going like on the skin around my lips, not even on my lip. So as you can see from that, I literally just made like another lip around my lip. I'm gonna do the same on the bottom. Now for me, when overlining my lips, I still don't overline my lips on the outer corners of my lower lip because I feel like that makes your mouth look really like wide, and I don't think that's as like aesthetically pleasing, I guess. I'm going to focus more on making the thickness in the center of the lip, kind of like I did on top. I really went over around this area, but then I kind of pulled it back into the corner where the lip naturally lies. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Now I want to clean that up a little bit on the bottom so that it looks a little more precise and kind of professional. So I'm going in with my concealer again, and I'm using this Alamar Cosmetics flat brush from their Los Ojitos brush set. And I'm going to just clean up right on the center bottom of my lip. Once I have that line, I'm going to blend the concealer down into my foundation. And then in the center of the lip for a nude pop, I'm going to take my Sephora matte lip cream in the shade 32, which is one of my favorites that I use a lot. Anytime I do like an ombre kind of lip like this, I like to go back in with my lip liner just to make sure everything's very blended. And even though we already have like a ton of pout going on today because I overline them so much, I want to do something just to get a little bit of effect to further kind of make my lips look a little fuller. So I'm going to go back in with my contour kit, and I'm going to go with the shade Princess Cut, which is more of like a grayish kind of contour color because I want this to look a little more natural. So I don't want this to be too warm looking. And back on this Morphe brush, the little small one I used under my eye, I wiped it off really good. I'm going to take a little bit of that Princess Cut powder and just put it right here in this natural crease I have under my lip. And that's just going to kind of make the lip come out a little more and look a little more full. You want this to be like so subtle. And then I'm going to go back in with my Beauty Blender and just dab over it so it's not too obvious. And that just gave like the most subtle little extra bit of pout to my lip. I'm also going to use that same shade just to contour my nose the tiniest bit. I'm telling you, like, I don't really like contouring noses. I don't know why. I've never been like the best at it. I'm definitely better at other people than myself because I feel like my nose it's not like smooth. Like some people can do their nose contour because their nose is very smooth. Like the skin itself has no like bumps. Because of my nose surgery I had a while back, the doctor was an ENT. He wasn't a plastic surgeon. So he wasn't like, he didn't know how to make it like super smooth because that wasn't the intention of the surgery. So there's a lot of like bumpiness from like the scar tissue and from the sutures over here when they removed my mole, because it was like precancerous kind of mole. Again, he wasn't like a plastic surgeon. So it wasn't like, you know, he was like doing this whole smooth, crazy thing. It was like more like a functional aspect. So it wasn't going to come out like perfectly smooth. So again, because of all that, I feel like it's a little harder for me because I have little ridges and stuff that if you looked really close at my nose, you'd see kind of like it goes up and then goes down a little bit. And so it's way harder to contour my nose, I feel like, because it's not like a smooth surface, if that makes sense. But I'm going to try my best. I'm doing the lightest bit. Whenever I do nose contouring, I literally hardly put any on. I don't know. I really don't know how people can get away with, some people are really heavy-handed with it, but it looks good. I really cannot do it. Like it does not work out for me. So I'm going super light-handed with this. And this side of my nose is so easier than this side. As you can see, I feel like that one, it's just like, boom, it's done. And this one is the like wonky side that's got all like the weird shape and everything. So it's way harder. Okay, and then just to blend that in a little more to the inner corner of my eye, I'm gonna take the shade Angle, which is the more warm shade from this contour palette. And I'm just going to blend that in the inner corner of my eye and meet it up with the nose contour. And then just sort of like diffuse it out because I feel like that's going to make it all, see how that flows better? I feel like that flows way better. All right, guys, so that is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed the video. Really love how this look turned out. I really absolutely love these palettes. I feel like they're very versatile. I know there's been so much drama surrounding these, but I personally think the formula is really nice. Like it works very easily for me. I have no problems with it. So yeah, this palette is like a million thumbs up for me. I really love all the color story. I love all the colors. They work really well. So I'm very impressed with this, very happy that I got it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.